Welcome back. Today I want to talk about finding the chakras inside. We have to find them mentally. We can't just point to them or look at a picture or visualize them. We have to find them with our own feeling inside of the body, and that is a yogic skill. This ability to feel through the body is a yogic skill, and specifically we want to zero in on this nexus of consciousness which the yogis call chakras, these wheels of power. And what it is, you have a brain, you have a central nervous system, and the brain is projecting its content down into the body so that we can make sense out of it. And the yogi feels that a little bit. It doesn't have to be this huge, grand amount, but it has to be a little bit of a feeling there that we connect with it, and that will make the Om Japa in the chakras very, very powerful. It'll make your experience of your body and your life much more interesting and enjoyable, and it will translate into yogic skills that will crop up in your life automatically. So it's very, very, very meaningful. And we're working with a very specific part of the brain, which is the caudate nucleus on the side of the brain. So let's get into that, how to do it, why it's important, and how we can easily develop this yogic skill in our life and in our meditative practice. When Ashok taught me to find the chakras, he said, don't point. Because I said, well, are you talking about the heart? And he goes, don't point. And I'm like, okay, I won't point. Now, why did he say that? He said, you have to find it mentally. You can't just point, and you cannot just look at a picture, and you can't just visualize it. And this is something that a lot of Kriya yogis don't know. Or a lot of yogis that work with their chakras, they don't know this. There's a lot of new age material out there, and it's nice. It can inform you a little bit, but if you want the deeper study, you have to go past the new age, right? And that's what we're doing here. We're digging into something very, very ancient and very true. So we're past the surface and we're going down to the heart of it. And the heart of it is Kriya Yoga specifically is not a visualization exercise. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a picture in your head that informs your practice. But the actual work is not done by the visualization. It is done by your consciousness feeling inside, getting a feeling, doing the Om Japa, doing the long breathing, and then feeling the difference and creating a biofeedback loop. How did I create that biofeedback loop? I felt one thing, I did something, then I felt another thing, and that is a biofeedback loop. When I do that again and again, I feel, I do, then I feel something different. That's a loop of biofeedback. It's very easy to establish. And once you begin to establish that biofeedback loop, it will suck you deeper and deeper and deeper into your own practice. That's exactly what we want. We want to be sucked down a little bit deeper every single time. And all of that is done by being sensitive, by being present, by noticing the small things. All of that is basically the same, by the way. And by feeling. By noticing and feeling what is going on. First of all, in the body. The body is the very first place where we can notice the meditative changes which are taking place. So all these yogis that say, discard the body. Well, it's kind of a tool. You can use it in the beginning. Yeah, eventually, sure, we're going to let it go. Yeah, that's the whole point. But in the beginning, it is your greatest tool. It is the biggest tool. In fact, when you're using the breath, what are you using? You're using your body to create change. It's the biggest tool in the room with you. It's the biggest lever to create change. So we want to use it to its full effect. That's the biofeedback. We can't just point. We can't look at pictures. Pictures can help us, give us an idea. But the thing that the Kriya Yogi wants specifically with the chakras is to feel. And that ability to feel inside of the body, that uses the caudate nucleus. So we use the picture to inform what we're doing, gives us an idea of what we're doing, where we're going. It's like a map, right? We're going to use the picture of the map to say, I'm going here and I'm going over there. But when I get on the road, I don't look at the map the whole time. I just look at the road, right? Same thing when you're in meditation. Okay, I look at the chakras, but when I'm inside, I'm just feeling the chakras, right? I don't need the picture. The picture might come up to me. Oh yeah, I remember that map and it was kind of like right here. That's fine. I use the map a little bit mentally, but really I'm feeling what is taking place. So let's give an example of that. I'm going to breathe through this hand. And so I have a mental picture that the breath, I'm going to push it from somewhere here out of the hand. So the breath itself, I'm imagining the breath is being pushed out of the hand. Now that visualization is not enough. That's just my map. That's where I'm going, right? That's all I need. Now I need the breath and the feeling. And that's what I'm going to use to push that energy through the hand. So I use the breath and I use the feeling together to push that energy. And the visualization, that was just an idea of what I'm doing. Same thing in the chakras. I might look at a picture, I might point to the heart, but what I'm doing in the practice is I'm feeling the heart, and then I'm going to Om into it. Om. And I'm going to do that mentally. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm going to Om in my mind, right? I say it mentally, not verbally, because I don't want to move in my meditation. So I'm going to sit there silently and Om into the chakras mentally. So that's a little bit, we have to feel, and that uses the caudate nucleus on either side of the brain, either the left side of the body or the right side of the body. It's using the caudate nucleus. And this is the very best friend of the Kriya Yogi. So I got the Kriya technique from Ashokji, and I went back home to practice it. It has Om Japa in the chakras. This is not a secret because Lahiri Mahashaya said if you're doing the Kriya and it does not have the Om Japa in the technique, then something is wrong. It will turn out to be a negative practice if you don't have the Om Japa in it. This is not a secret. He wrote this to his students. His children published that in his letters to his students. It's out there for everybody to know. If you're doing a Kriya of the Kriya Yoga lineage of Lahiri Mahashaya and the Om Japa is not in it, he says this is not correct, right? It's no secret. So I got this Kriya from Ashokji, and I went home and I started to practice, and I realized, whoa, I need a lot of practice just feeling the chakras. And so I would spend 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there throughout my day, just feeling into different chakras. That's all I would do. And I would just Om into them. It's just a little practice, right? So I'd feel my heart, Om into it mentally. I'd spend maybe 5 minutes on the heart. Then I'd feel the third chakra, right? Feel it, Om into it mentally. And I would just go through my day finding different chakras, right? From the medulla to the coccyx. Those 6 chakras, I would find them throughout my entire day. 1 minute here, 2 minutes there, 5 minutes there. And I would Om into them to create this connection with every chakra, so that when I went to do my Kriya Yoga work that Ashokji had given to me, that the chakras would be there, the connection would be there, the association would be there, and it would this development of the feeling of those chakras would be there for me. And I could just do the technique. I didn't have to hunt and worry about whether I was doing it right. So I was continuously developing this feeling throughout my day. And then later, Ashokji told me, when you have a negative feeling, when something comes over, just om into it. When you have a negative feeling, anything goes wrong in your life and you're like, oh, this is awful. And you start to feel some of that negative emotion come up, whatever it is, even if it's small. You just om into it, just snuff it out, just snuff it right out, he told me. And I'll never forget it. He came running out of his house to tell me that one day, and I'll never forget it. It was beautiful. It was very, very kind, very, very sincere. He was very worried for me. And that's what I call the Kriya therapy. Because when you feel an emotion, you om into it, you transform it. It will dim, it will shrink, it will dissolve into nothing and disappear. And that's what we want, right? That's what we want. We want to be free. So the development of this feeling is really, really important. It's the very best friend of the Kriya Yogi. And I would just do it all day. And that made the practice very, very powerful. Now, sometimes we will get into this and my students will worry that it's not good enough. And that's actually a really good sign that you actually care and you're actually working on it because you care that maybe it's not good enough. And so I love that. I love hearing that. But you don't have to worry so much. If you're trying to do this and you keep trying, then you're doing a good job. Because the trying itself is building up that you're building the caudate nucleus and this ability to feel inside of you. So if you feel a shred, oh my God, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing fantastic. If you feel more than a shred, you feel 2 shreds. Fantastic. You did it. You're doing a great job. So maybe one chakra will be easier to feel than another. That's very, very common. So you're right in the right place. All of us have felt this. Some chakras are easier to associate with, to connect with than other chakras. Some chakras are like, oh yeah, that's great. And other chakras are like, oh, wait, I don't know. Very, very normal. But the Kriya Yogi and the Om Japa, we plug that in and all of that attraction and diversion, we wash it. We wash all of that. And they all become easy. They all become clean eventually. And then they all become blissful. And so that's where we're going with all of this, right? We want to create all of that chakras being clean and then all of them being blissful eventually. And sometimes we'll feel them very easily. Sometimes it will be hard. We don't care. You're doing a great job if you're trying this out. And you keep coming back for more soup, sir. You keep coming back, you keep trying it out, then you're doing a great job and you're building that caudate nucleus. It's getting more and more powerful inside of you, and this essential skill is coming into fruition for you over time. You're doing great. So if you feel a little bit, hallelujah, that's perfect. You feel a little more, oh my God, that's great. You feel a lot, fantastic. And then sometimes they'll even dim out because you're going into the freeze response. And so those feelings of the chakras will begin to dim. And that's okay as well. So that's the trajectory. That's what you might expect. And let's get into how to actually feel them. And this is what Ashokji taught me, that feeling them physically using the body is the very best way in the beginning. You can also feel the chakras through emotion. So I have love in my heart, that's the heart chakra. I have hurt in my heart, that's the heart chakra. I have fear in my gut, that's the third chakra, right? I have jealousy in the second chakra, in the sacrum, that's the second chakra. I might feel a twinge of fear that goes all the way down to the very first chakra. Fear of losing something which is physical. That is the first chakra. I might have words stuck in my throat. That's the throat chakra. The medulla is that aha moment. Oh my God, we even strain the back of our necks. Oh my God, I get it. That's the medulla, right? But let's go through each and every one of these in the physical way that Ashokji taught me. For the first chakra, we want to clench the anus And then as we release the muscle, feel as if the energy is drawing back into the spine. It is. And so I want you to follow that feeling back to the spine. It's actually the retreat of energy through the nervous system into the dorsal vagal. And it's laying right on top of the spine. But if we just say the spine, that is close enough. That's close enough to the truth that we can feel it correctly. So we clench the anus, and then we let it go, and feel the energy go back towards the spine. That's the first chakra. We want to feel it as close to being on top of the spine as possible. Maybe you feel it in the spine. Perfect. Now the second chakra, imagine that you're going pee or you're going pee, and you can practice this in the bathroom. Imagine you're going pee and you stop the flow of urine. Let go of that muscle and feel the energy retreat towards the spine. That's the second chakra. Now the third chakra, we can do it two ways, okay? The way that Ashokji taught me, bend over, straighten up, and feel the lower back tense. That's the third chakra. The way I like to find the third chakra, I breathe out, I suck in the gut very powerfully, and I hold that, and I feel the heat transferring to the spine. The gut is sucked in, and that contraction, the heat of that contraction is moving backwards to the spine. That's what I want to feel. I want to feel that heat retreating backwards towards the spine. That's the third chakra. Everybody knows the heart. The heart is so easy. We all love love, and we all talk about love, and we watch movies about love, and we read books about love. Love is so easy. We've all felt hurt in our hearts. So it's very easy. But that real shock of love comes when you haven't seen a loved one for a very long time, Ashokji said, and then suddenly they come, and you go, oh my God! And that shock of love, that's the heart. That's the fourth chakra. For the fifth chakra, he said, make the sound of ka. Ka. Deep in the throat. Ka. And after you make the sound, you activated all of those muscles. After you make the sound, feel the energy retreating backwards towards the spine. Do you see this common theme? We're watching things retreat backwards towards the spine. And that's where the chakra lies, the origin of the chakra. That's what we want. We don't want the heart on the front. We want the heart as it retreats towards the spine. So make the sound ka, 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 and feel it retreat backwards towards the cervical vertebrae. And that is the throat chakra. Now for the medulla, Ashok said, you get that aha moment. Oh my God! And you strain the back of your neck. Very, very, very good way to find the sixth chakra, the ajna chakra. Now people will say, oh, the ajna chakra is here. It's projecting there. That is the doorway of the chakra. We want the origin. The origin is in the medulla. So we are attempting to find and feel the origin of the medulla. And sometimes when people go like this and they think, oh, the medulla is in the back, they will get this back part of the brain that hangs down, which is the cerebellum, and that's not what we want. And so to further clarify, let's imagine that your skull is sitting on the screw of your cervical vertebrae, and we're just going to move your skull ever so slightly to feel that screw of your cervical vertebrae going into the skull. And we want to find that point where the two meet, right at the base of the brain. So I pull my chin back, I make my neck very straight, and I just turn, not a big turn, that activates the outside of the neck. We want just a tiny little turn. And feel that screw going into the medulla. And when you find it, there's a feeling of, oh, there's a little feeling of relaxation when you get back there. There's you might even find bliss. So there's a little bit of that as you start to get back. Oh, that's why we're going to the origin. We want that bliss, which is at the origin, okay? So put your mind on the little screw at the base of the skull, okay? That's what we want. And now we have located all of the chakras physically. And now the practice is to keep doing the physical finding. Feel it, then Om into it. So it's 1, 2, 3, okay? Do the physical finding. Feel it where you think it is. The best approximation. If you don't think it's perfect, that's great. People tell me, oh, I'm not perfect in the feeling. I don't care. You're doing great because you're trying. So do the best approximation physically. Feel it approximately, and then Om into it. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's all we need to do to develop this yogic skill of feeling inside of the body. And you'll be able to feel anywhere inside of the body, but most importantly, you'll be able to connect with all of the chakras. And that is very powerful. Feeling inside the body, great. Connecting to the chakras, oh my God, it's powerful. Doing Om Japa and creating change, cleaning them out, finding bliss. Oh my God, now we're going thermonuclear, right? So we went from a base level, feeling inside of the body, to, oh my God, we're connecting specifically to a nexus of power, which is projected from the brain, to cleaning out that chakra, to then finding bliss. Do you see? This is like a shuttle taking off, and it will explode your ability in meditation because it will clear you out. And you're doing the long breathing, right? Heart rate variability resonance. And you put these two things together. The long breathing and cleaning everything out of the way. And suddenly your mind will become crystal clear. Crystal clear. It's very, very beautiful practice when all of this comes together. So I hope you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.